All right, I'm starting.
So I was like, oh, I'm
Three,
out. I'm done with this.
one,
I'm done with go.
go.
You said you were gonna start. What are you doing?
Right. We
had to shut that.
I was
now you gotta go.
I was looking.
Episode
at
96. Here we are.
97.
Welcome
97.
to Pizza Hut Betrayal.
Right.
101.
97.
I was looking at Cicero's face. I couldn't stop laughing.
Well, we had to hold it in. We're sitting here.
Right. We're professionals.
Yeah.
What are you
We
supposed
heard
to
the
what are you doing
countdown, and
over
we're
here?
like, yes, sir. Okay.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Let's get into the news. Microsoft.
Good job, Cicero.
Yes.
You get to say something to his fans, right?
Yeah.
I
just
mean,
did. Bull don't lie.
Yeah, it's already an hour and 15 minutes in, so we got a lot of news to cover. Microsoft was quoted today as being very generous to our dear friends over at Sony as far as the Activision Blizzard deal. Yes, we are talking about it again. Sorry.
What's
for
the
those
Activision
ears
Blizzard
listening.
deal?
Right. What?
Some joker predicted a couple months ago, maybe
Years.
a year ago or something. Yeah.
Years.
Anyway, Microsoft, Cicero, do you believe this? Microsoft offered a 10-year deal to Sony for COD to be on the platform. This does come from Windows Central here, written by none other than Jez Corden. He says a new report in the New York Times has given us an update on the ensuing drama between Microsoft and regulators over its $69 billion merger with Activision Blizzard. Quote, Microsoft has been battling with regulators on both sides of the Atlantic to land approval for its mega deal for the creators of Call of Duty, Warcraft, Candy Crush, and various other major games. And yeah, it has been said that previously it was like a 3-year contract, but potentially it was initially a 10-year licensing deal for it to still be coming on Sony platforms. Cicero, what do you think about this?
You know what? I think that irrespective of how this turns out, this is a win for Sony. Because they have managed to win the propaganda war about what about this unfair advantage that Microsoft would have, or that the Xbox would have if this Microsoft acquisition goes through. And we all know that if Sony was in a position to make this purchase, that there was zero chance that any of these games that were multi-platform would remain multi-platform, right? We all know this, and it's incredible to me that Sony has, or incredible may not necessarily be the right word. Maybe it's admirable to me that Sony has been able to manipulate the powers that be into really, creating a great roadblock for this acquisition to continue. I still think it's going to go through, but all of these things are just making it a little bit more difficult, a couple of more hurdles to leap over.
Justin, thoughts?
Well, let me start off with, I hope Sony PR isn't listening right now, but even if they are, it's a little too late to change their arguments and their tactics right now. I call back to when I first announced or first predicted this would happen.
You announced it.
Yeah. Call of
It was
Duty.
a Test Your Might exclusive.
Call of Duty was the last thing I listed in the caveat of perks that Microsoft would get from this deal. They got the website and the PC race with Battle.net. They got the entire backlog of Activision and the entire backlog of Blizzard. They get the mobile front. The big money gain is the mobile front. They get King. And Sony isn't even batting an eye at that. All they care about is the bottom dollar and what Call of Duty is going to do for them over the next 10 years. That's all they care about. They don't care about any of the other stuff. That's the big gain from this. The mobile and the PC is huge for Xbox. And that's what they're gaining. They can, bite fingers and yell about this little tiny company called, Call of Duty, or this game called Call of Duty, and how much it's going to lose them if they lose it. That's not what Microsoft bought this company for. They bought it for the whole package. They bought it for everything. And Call of Duty is just a small fraction. The mobile and the computer PC market is where the money's at. And that's why they are going to win this, number one. And Sony doesn't even know what they're fighting for. because that doesn't matter. One little tiny speck of this deal does not matter. I'm done with it. Sony, back down. You got 10 years. Calm down. Microsoft, make the future.
Well, and who even knows if like 10 years is the minimum? Like,
No.
Phil Spencer's been pretty adamant about it still being on a PlayStation as long as there's a PlayStation console.
Exactly, because that's not what Phil cares about. That's not where he's looking for the dollars. He's looking for the dollars to grow and evolve as a company. And that's what a good CEO would do. You know, implicating, like Nintendo doesn't even have Call of Duty. They made Splatoon and they're still second in the league. Like, are you kidding me? So Sony, you have no right. You have so much back catalog to innovate with. SOCOM, you know, you've got SOCOM, you've got Resistance. Bring them back. Do your own thing if you lose Call of Duty. Nintendo's doing it and winning second place.
Any more thoughts, Cicero?
I just think that, maybe 10 years. 10 years seems like a long time, but maybe it's not that long at all. Nope. But I just find it funny, right? Like that's the deal. Like, I think, Duck's right? Like, give him 10 years, give him 15 years. Who cares, right? Because that's not the game that Microsoft's playing. The game that Microsoft's playing is, hey, consoles aren't going to matter in 10 years, right? Like, what are you going to be playing on, a PlayStation 7? You're going out and you're getting a PlayStation 7 with a disc and and it's got the things and the da-da. Nah, Precisely. Nobody's going to be doing that, in 2032, 2033. Right? Nobody's going to be.
That's when GTA 6 is going to come out. I'm ready.
Right, exactly. When GTA 6 comes out, it won't be on a console. It'll just be streamed to us somewhere. Oh. Right? So really, what are you going to be, what is the console? The console at best is going to be a controller. And, a dongle, probably not a dongle, just an app on a smart device that you download. And then you pay for a service and you buy a piece of hardware that is a controller, and that is how you connect to whatever the service is that you're playing on. And so in like 10 years, I don't know that PlayStation will be a factor in that way. Yeah. PlayStation software maybe, but not the console.
Yeah.
And if they hold on to that, they'll be there. It'll be them and Nintendo doing that by themselves, and Microsoft will be way beyond that.
Yeah, and it's pretty telling too that Sony has so far declined comment on all of this stuff so far. So we'll see what Sony's true response is to this. Again, I agree with Cicero. I think this goes through, and I also agree with Justin. I think it's about way more than Call of Duty. Like, this is about getting World of Warcraft on a console. This is about World of Warcraft getting bundled into Game Pass. This is about Candy Crush. This is about King, So much more is
just opening those doors for Microsoft that Microsoft wanted. That's why I listed them. And I felt like those are the things you want. Call of Duty is just a perk. That's just the icing on the top of the cake.
A perk that they are still willing to give Sony. So, All right. Xbox November update adds Discord voice chat directly to the menu. So you could legitimately just go to a voice channel. We're in a voice channel right now. We could just do that on our Xbox. Kind of cool. Just
Cicero, have you dabbled with it? I haven't tried it yet.
I have not done it directly from the console. I have done it where the old convoluted way of 2 months ago.
Yeah. So that was like 2 weeks ago.
Right. And it worked flawlessly, right? Like once you jump through the couple of hoops, it worked flawlessly. Ironically enough, the game that I would probably be utilizing this the most for is Call of Duty, where there's all this cross-platform stuff. And I'm playing Call of Duty actually on my PlayStation, which, again, ironically enough, Sony announced the deal with Discord a year ago, and they've done absolutely nothing with it, right? So the one place where I should be able to use Discord to communicate with people on Discord PC. I can't. But the place that people that, once the thing came down, there were people saying, oh, look at what Sony's got, look at what PlayStation got, and Microsoft doesn't. Well, guess what? Xbox does have it. and they don't have any kind of deal with Discord. So I'm still waiting for what the PlayStation Discord,
sort of baffling.
Marriage is going to look like, because right now it looks like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Justin, you were a Legacy of Kain fan growing up, right?
Yeah. I was a big vampire fan back in the day.
Right. This comes from Ryan Densdale on IGN. In its second quarter, this is a quote here, in its second quarter financial results, Embracer Group said it was overwhelmed with the number of responses to the survey it released in October and responded plainly, "We hear you loudly and clearly." And it also says here, quote, "We wanted to gain a community perspective on what players are looking for should we revisit the land of Nosgoth and, of course, our iconic IP, Legacy of Kain." So, are you excited for a Legacy of Kain reboot?
Yeah, obviously. I would be excited for a Soul Reaver reboot, too. Hear me. If you're listening, listen to the fans.
Hear me.
These two franchises we grew up with, we love. Very similar to Siphon Filter, which we talked about earlier. Also, if you're hearing me, StarCraft. Do what you will. Make something. Bring it back. It disappeared.
Right.
Make something. Yeah.
Isn't
Kain,
StarCraft
awesome.
Blizzard?
Yeah, it is. And revitalize those old IPs, Phil Spencer. Fans
Right?
want it for sure. I'm sure.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sure
I
even
think they
Phil
do.
remembers playing StarCraft because it was a symbol of RTS. It was a symbol of
Yes.
PC gaming, and then it just vanished.
And still
like
is in
nothing.
Korea.
Yeah, it just vanished for most people.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now. But yes, Legacy of Kain revitalized. Even if it's a new story, even if it's a reboot, I don't care. Make it look good. Bring it back. Bring the stories back. Bring a new fan base, and bring the old fans back. Lots of back.
Indeed. Legacy of Kain, did you ever play it, Cicero?
Very briefly, when I was working at a popular place where you would stop for games, you were able to
Pizza Hut?
I get it.
Yeah, you were able to rent. games.
No, see, that was
a game
Burger
I went.
King back in the
Right.
day. They had
Wow.
games.
Well, I worked there for a little while,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
You did. I remember
Big
that.
King. Yeah, I did too.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I've had all the jobs.
Oh, you've had all of them.
Did you work at Pizza Hut? That's the only way I'd forgive you.
Yeah, no, I didn't work. I didn't have, but I worked for a Yum brand, so it was okay. It was different.
Listen, you're funny.
Try.
This grudge Justin's gonna hold. Okay. All right. That is our news for today. Some things that we just skipped over. Streets of Rage series is on the way from
Can't wait.
Lionsgate.
It's going to be awesome.
Bayonetta 4 seemingly announced on Twitter as well. So some brand new news coming at you.
I do want to say
All right,
Streets of
gentlemen.
Rage better be R-rated. It has to be. Adult film.
I'm sure it will. I'm
It
sure it
has
will.
to. If it's not, it's going to take some of the luster away, for sure. For me, anyway. Okay.
All right. That was our news.